Hello, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and I'm back with a new layout to share for Papermaze. And I have a new collection to work with this month. So it's Photoplay's Sweet as Honey collection. It's one of the Tulla and Norbert ones. It's got loads of the little gnomes in it. And these collections always really make me laugh because they're designed by a girl called Becky Moore, which is my name. So always have a bit of a giggle when I see those. So I've pulled out a couple of my favourite papers. So there's one with a wood grain pattern on it, and then it's got loads of little bees and beehives. It's really, really gorgeous. I love it. It's called Buzzing By. And then the other side of that is that kind of mustard yellow honeycomb paper. You can't really see too well on the camera, but that paper has got a honeycomb pattern all over it. And the other paper is that black one that's got loads of gorgeous yellow and white florals over it. That's called Sweet Pollen. So these two are my favourites out of this collection. So I've pulled out my hexagon nesting dies. They're a set of metal dies that go through a manual die cutting machine, and I've cut loads of hexagons. I've got 3 different sizes. So my photo is the largest one, and then I've cut a couple of different sizes after that. I think I might actually have 3 more sizes. I can't remember what I use now. Excuse me. But yeah, so I've cut my hexagons out and I'm trying to arrange them horizontally across my page. I've also got a couple of floral metal dies I've used to cut some flowers from the same pattern papers. So I've got one that's kind of larger and closed flowers, and then one that gives me some open flowers. So I'm going to kind of layer a couple of those up and then have them individually. But yeah, I'm going to use those as embellishments across my layout. I've also got, which was really lucky, I found in my stash, the most cutest little bumblebees ever. So they're little wooden bumblebees, and they came from a shop in the Isle of Wight, and I got them on holiday I think last year, might even be the year before now. But I've got 5 of these little bees and I've never used them. So I'm going to pop some of those on my layout as well. So I've kind of already, as you can see, figured out the composition of my layout. I'm going to have my photo kind of to the right of the page, just of the angle that my little boy is facing in the photo. So I'm going to pop that there and then have the hexagons arranged around the photo. And I've just gone round and distressed all the edges with an edge distresser because I just like the texture that brings to a layout. And then I'm going to raise all of these hexagons up on craft foam. So I'm running really low on my usual adhesive craft foam, so I'm having to use the one that's non-adhesive, which means I've got to take some time to stick them all down rather than just peeling the sticky back off. Well, it takes me a while, but I'm just going to work my way around getting those stuck in place, and I'm going to fast forward that because it's not the most interesting thing to watch, so we'll skip through that. But yeah, I'm just putting foam behind each of the hexagons. So once that's done, I do the same thing with my photo and get that stuck down. And then it's just a case of getting everything else stuck in place, really. So that little tab I've put above my photo says BU. It's really cute. That's from the cardstock ephemera pack. So you get 26 pieces in this pack. There's a few little tabs, some circles, some little phrases, and you get some frames as well. It's a really cute little pack. So I've pulled that out from there. I'm getting those die cut flowers stuck in place now, just popping some tiny little open petaled flowers in the centre of the closed flowers there. Hopefully you'll see that a bit closer in the close-ups at the end. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to see things on film, especially when I do my voiceovers, because I see it in a tiny little portion of the screen as opposed to the full screen. This little ticket here says "Be Awesome." That is from the ephemera pack as well. So I've just distressed the edges of that, and I'm going to use that as my title and have that stuck on the solid yellow hexagon there so that it stands out. And again, I've raised that I've raised that with foam behind it so it stands out from the layout, so it's quite clear that that is a focal point. That is my title. And then just got the rest of those flowers stuck down. Just bringing in a couple more bits of ephemera to see if I can make those work. I want to have a lot of white space on this layout. I don't want it to be too crowded because I want those pattern papers to really sing. So I don't want to overcrowd it. And I stuck those little wooden bees down. They had sticky foam on the back already, so it's just a case of peeling those off and getting those stuck down. I've got a gorgeous little hexagon stencil here, almost like honeycomb. It's actually called honeycomb. It's by Creative Expressions. That's also from Papermaze, so I'll pop a link to that in the description box below, as well as the collection. And I'm using a distress ink in mustard seed and a tiny blending brush just to go around and add a few hexagons. And then before I remove the stencil, I'm just using a black pen to draw around the outline, just to kind of give them a border and make them kind of stand out a bit more and give them a better finish. So you can see I'm just using that same one hexagon. I've applied some washi tape to the stencil just so that my blending brush doesn't kind of carry on over into any of the other hexagons. So I just want to use individual hexagons around the layout. And I think I just do a couple more, just using a circular motion with that blending brush, and this ink goes on really easy. And then I can just use a baby wipe to clean my stencil up at the end. So that's my stenciling done, and I love how that looks, just a little pop of yellow hexagons all around the layout. Now I've pulled out a ephemera piece. This is from the ephemera pack, and it's got a little beehive on it. I think it says like have a beautiful day or something underneath it, but I just wanted to use the beehive, so I'm just fussy cutting that out, and I'm going to try and find a place for that on my layout. I have to remove, I think, a bee and a flower to try and make it work, but it was really cute and I really wanted to use it on my layout somewhere. So here I have settled on having it dangling down from behind that title ticket there, so I just have to remove that flower, move my little wooden bee up above the beehive. And I'm just raising that beehive up on foam pads at the bottom because the top part is raised up from the foam behind that hexagon. So just carrying on that down, raising the rest of it up as well. And then just trying to find a place for that die cut flower that I'd removed, and I sit him up on the top there. So you may have seen me just now having a bit of a play around trying to decide if I wanted to have a frame on this layout, and I've decided I am going to have one. So I'm just trying out probably my favourite patterned paper. This is the Buzzing By. I was just trying both sides to see which I preferred, and I've decided I like the wood grain with the bees and the beehives. So I'm just gutting the middle so that I can hopefully use that on another layout. And then I need to trim down my white cardstock to make it a little bit smaller to enable me to have that border. But my hexagons over on the right hand side were almost to the edge of the page, so I've had to cut my side all from the left, and then I've cut a tiny bit off the top and the bottom. And that's just helped to keep that hexagons along the middle kind of centred along the page. And then I'm going around with my edge distresser, just distressing all the edges again, just because I love distressing edges. It's just one of my things I like to do. And it also ties in the layout together because I've distressed the edges of all those hexagons, so it makes sense. It looks better to have that edge distressed as well. And then just using double-sided tape to get that stuck in place. So once I've got this in place, I decided I needed some black around the outside of my page. I did consider getting my sewing machine out and stitching some black thread all around the outside edge, but instead I settled for a doodled border. So I'm just using a black gel pen and creating a doodled border with some little squiggly bits. And then I took a quick break, came back to my layout and decided I wanted to add some sequins. And I either forgot to press record or I pressed it and it didn't work, but you'll see in the close-ups I have added some sequins. They are from Spiegel Mum Scraps, and it's a mix called Into the Wood, which is a brown kind of wood grain effect sequin, and I absolutely love them and they work really well with this collection. So that's the layout complete. I will leave you with some close-ups. Obviously in the description box below, as always, I will leave the link to the Papermaze blog and also to the Papermaze store where you can find this collection and all the other bits I've used as well. So thanks for joining me, and I shall see you next time.